everyone, so today we're going to be doing a video or a product review on the Ordinary's Hyaluronic Acid Serum 2% B5. So we're going to be doing a series every now and again where lunchtime. Hey everyone, we're back again, and this time we're going to be doing a product review on the Ordinary's Hyaluronic Acid 2% B5, and we're actually going to be doing a video every now and again on product review, and it's going to be called Read the Label, folks, where we break down the ingredients in a specific product. We'll offer other alternatives to the product as well as some pro tips on how to use the product. So stay tuned for the pro tips later on in the video. Hi, my name is Christy, and I have been treating clients with hyperpigmentation, acne, and other skin conditions for over 11 years. So we are going to be talking about the Ordinary's Hyaluronic Acid 2% B5. So if you haven't caught my video on hyaluronic acid, what the beauty industry doesn't tell you, please catch that. That focuses more on what hyaluronic does, what hyaluronic acid is. So just briefly, all of you who are watching this should know that hyaluronic acid can hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. So it's a humectant. It's considered a humectant and brings moisture to your skin. The Ordinary has added vitamin B5, which is also known as panthenol, and it is a moisturizer. It's a humectant and an emollient to the skin. Emollient basically softens the skin. Now, the Ordinary and actually most companies do not source their hyaluronic acid from animals. So before, they used to actually source it. It was very common for it to get it from a rooster's comb. So the little wattle thing, you know, on the wait, the wattle thing is the turkey, isn't it? The little rooster thing up here, so they would actually get it from that, and so now it is more sourced from plants. But in the olden days, they actually would source it from that or from animals, tendons, cartilage, their muscles, and things like that. So the Ordinary on their website, it actually does say that it is not animal source. So the other one is the B5. So that one is actually, it's derived from pantothenic acid. So as referred to that other video, hyaluronic acid, what the beauty industry doesn't tell you, I do talk briefly about INCI, the International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients. And basically what that is when you're looking at an ingredients list, if you look at the top third or so, those are the main ingredients that are composed in that product. And the bottom third of the ingredients, it doesn't have to be in any specific order. So if you notice in most ingredients, you'll see water or aloe vera gel. That is what mostly the product is made out of, and then they start adding other ingredients in there. But on the bottom third of it, it doesn't have to be in any particular order. So if it has one drop or versus 1/8 of a teaspoon in there, it doesn't have to necessarily be in that numerical order. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually evaluate the Ordinary's Hyaluronic Acid 2% Serum B5 in the order that it comes from. I do want to say that this ingredient list is based on when the video was filmed. Companies change their ingredients list from time to time, whether it's a sourcing issue or cost issue or whatever. So I do want to say, as of the date of making this video, this review is based on that list. So the first one is sodium hyaluronate. So the sodium hyaluronate, if you know, that is hygroscopic macromolecular. So hygroscopic basically means water loving. It attracts water from its surrounding environment and brings it to itself. Otherwise it's, water loving or hydrophilic. Macromolecular obviously means it's a larger molecule. And then also in addition to that, it's cross polymer. Now the other one, this is a mouthful. Now it's followed by Anfeltia conchina, hope I say it correctly. That's basically a macro red algae. Now whether it's red algae, brown algae, or green algae, they offer different types of benefits such as antioxidant benefits, anti-inflammatory benefits, and also what they use a lot of for, it is a coagulator, so it makes the moisture, it's a moisture binding agent. The downsides for some people, not everyone, but for the downsides is that if people are sensitive to the iodide or iodine that's in that, it can cause pustules and inflame the pores. In the red algae in particular, you can see that in some of, even in ice cream, I've seen it. It's also known as carrageenan, okay? So it is a moisture binding product or ingredient, and the reason why is because of its oligopeptides and oligosaccharides. So it's very gelatinous material. So in this case, it's used as a thickening agent. It's also can be used as a stabilizer, a moisturizer, and a emulsifier. So the next one is glycerin, and in most cases now, glycerin is actually plant-derived, and it's also a humectant. And if you haven't caught the video on hyaluronic acid, what the beauty industry doesn't tell you or doesn't want you to know is that if you look closely at most moisturizers, conditioners, even shampoos, creams, a lot of times, even though on the front part of the label they are really marketing that it has hyaluronic acid in it, a lot of times when you actually look at the ingredients list, glycerin is actually rated higher. It's ranked higher than the hyaluronic acid list. But in this case, hyaluronic acid list is much higher than the glycerin. So the Ordinary actually comes through that they market it as hyaluronic acid. And if you look at the ingredients list, that is actually one of the first, or the first, I think, ingredient in the serum. So glycerin is also a humectant, and it actually brings a moisture to the skin. So of course you're going to see that on there, because if you just have hyaluronic acid, a lot of the times, depending on what the product is, sometimes if you live in an arid climate and the liquid part of the product evaporates, you kind of get this like salty-ish, flaky stuff because it is sodium hyaluronate. So if you're finding this information so far valuable and you are liking the information that's being brought to you, then we would love it if you haven't already subscribed to our channel so you can get more in-depth product reviews that have very little fluff in them. Then make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please give us a thumbs up letting us know that this is the type of videos that you are looking for. So on to the next part. So just to let you know, we are not being sponsored by The Ordinary. They didn't even send me a product. This is actually based on all my subscribers, what they wanted to keep seeing in the comments of product reviews. Now, some of you in the comments, all spread out, all my videos have said that you don't like hyaluronic acid because it makes your face drier, and I explained in that other video, if you live in a dry climate or if you seem to have drier skin, what you need to do if you choose to use hyaluronic acid serum. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but I did want to say that they didn't send me a free product. I'm not being sponsored. I'm doing this based on my subscribers' feedback. Okay, so we're moving on to the ingredients. So benzylene glycol and propanediol are basically solvents. Polyacrylate cross-polymer 6 enhances texture. PPG 26 and Beauty 26 serves or acts as a surfactant. PEG 40 hydrogenated castor oil serves as a skin conditioning surfactant. Now, some people have claimed on comments that this makes them break out, that every time that they use products that it's contained in this, that they start to get breakouts. Because I have never met them, I've never seen their skin. If it does, then you may want to avoid this. It's also a fragrance ingredient. It stands for polyethylene glycol. Hexylene glycol and capryl glycol is also used as skin conditioning solvents. However, the capryl glycol can also be used for antimicrobial properties. Trisodium ethylene diamine is a chelating agent. Citric acid, that adjusts for pH. Ethoxy-D-glycol is for fragrance. So the preservatives that are used in this serum are ethyl, hexyl, glycerin, phenoxyethanol, and chlorphenicin. And the first two, you'll actually see that in a lot of cosmetic-based ingredients, and usually in the bottom third. So the Ordinary's hyaluronic acid 2% B5 does actually use hyaluronic acid and glycerin as their main humectant, and using the B5 as a moisturizing or emollient agent. Now, this hyaluronic acid serum doesn't seem to have any occlusive agent, but a lot of the hyaluronic acids typically don't, because it's a serum. It's not acting as, it doesn't say that it's a moisturizer or lotion. But if you're using it for increasing hydration in your skin, you need to add on top of that, especially if you're living in an arid climate, because all that water will evaporate, which is why some of you have told me you don't like the hyaluronic acid serum because it leaves your skin actually drier, and some of you have said you have broken out even more. So you need to add something from keeping the moisture or the fluid part of the product from escaping. Okay, so here comes the pro tip. So some people commented in all my other videos and social media channels why the Ordinary, and I don't know if it's any other serum, but why the Ordinary Hyaluronic Acid pills on their skin when it starts to form these little pills, or it starts to get all the product kind of bunched up. And there's several reasons. So the first one is if you are not exfoliating enough, that if you happen to use an exfoliating serum product and then you start to rub, then the dead skin starts to come up and then mixes with the product and it starts to ball up. So that's the first one. The second one is you may be using the products in the wrong order. So remember, it goes from thinnest to thickest, and so when you're using something that's thicker and it's a water and oil emulsion and you put that on top and then you put the water-based serum, it's not mixing, so then when you start to rub in, then the oil-based product can start to ball up as well. The other one is that if the product has silicones in them or polymers in them, then they also can prevent absorption. So then the product can't absorb, and so they start to ball up. So in this particular case, it does have copolymers from the sodium hyaluronate. It also has the PEG 40 hydrogenated castor oil, which can prevent absorption rate. So that could also cause pilling if you're using a heavier cream, or you're mixing, or you're matching. So that's one of the two. The other one too is if you're using a sunscreen that is a physical based sunscreen that has titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, so that sits on top of the skin. So if you're putting on the serum and then you put on the sunscreen that is just a physical, that can ball up as well. So the tip is to layer the products thinnest to thickest, letting them dry in between, or if it is a hyaluronic acid, so if it's just hyaluronic acid and then you put on a toner and then you put on a moisturizer, that shouldn't interrupt it too much. But if you find the pilling, this product may be one that you have to allow to dry. So most of the hyaluronic acid that I've worked with doesn't pill, so I actually was surprised when I read that. So those are some pro tips that you need to do. Is you need to exfoliate, you need to use the products thinnest to thickest. Depending on what you're using, you may have to let it dry in between before moving on to the next step. And the other one is the sunscreen. If it's a physical based sunscreen, then you may have to wait. So if there's so many of you who have so many different skin types, and some of you love it, some of you don't. So if your skin tends to be more reactive, more breakout prone, you're living in an arid climate, or you're using other products that tend to draw the moisture out of your skin, then here are some other alternatives with this. And I mentioned this actually in another video of the hydrating gel treatment that a company approached me on. And this one, now it is thicker, it's substantially thicker than the hyaluronic acid, and everyone who has tried it in the boutique as well, people who purchased it online, loved it. Now the unique thing about this product is you can use this, it's very versatile. You can use it as a hydrating serum. You can use it if you tend to be very oily and you don't like a lot of the creams tend to break you out, or lotions make you feel oily or greasy when you wake up. This actually can be also used as a gel moisturizer for those of you who tend to be oily or breakout prone. And also you can use it as an overnight hydrating gel mask, where you put it on, you put a little bit more on like you do a mask, and then you leave it on overnight. Some people tried it. They felt the moisture in their skin overnight and they loved it. So it just depends on your skin type, what you're using, but it is a very versatile product. Now the reason why I really love it is because it has actually a mixture of different types of humectants in there. So yes, it does have hyaluronic acid, but it also has glycerin, it has aloe vera gel, it has sodium PCA, and if you don't know about sodium PCA, hyaluronic acid has can hold 1,000 times its weight in water, and sodium PCA is actually half of that. So it has those as a humectant. It also has luminaria extract. Now the unique thing also with this is it doesn't have, if you read ingredients like I do, which is very frequently, you're going to start to see, if you haven't noticed already, a lot of your anti-frizz hair gels, serums, lotions, creams, on and on. You'll see dimethicone, silicone, trimethicone. These are basically microplastics, and so this doesn't have any of that in there, which I was concerned about because I have some clients who just have very reactive skin, and I waited to see if they reacted to this, and they did not. So it doesn't have any silicones. It is paraben free. It doesn't have any synthetic fragrances at all. So it is it's an excellent product out there. They really focus on actually businesses that do a lot of acid peels or a lot of laser treatments so that they can actually hold the moisture into their skin. They do use it in some burn centers, so apparently it's the focus is really not retail for this company. It does have chamomile and calendula as anti-inflammatory agents. So for those of you who tend to be, your skin tends to be reactive or redness prone, you have rosacea, you have telangiectasia, you have sensitive skin, those can benefit your skin as well. And for those of you who are oily or acne prone, it does have some astringent and some antimicrobial properties. It also has horsetail extract, arnica, and golden seal. And the burdock root regulates sebum or sebum production. So this is the tricky part about serums or lotions or creams to try to address. So some people have the redness, they have the sensitivities from using a lot of acne products, and then they're breakout prone. So they tend to shy away a lot of times when it has oils or any type of agents that may clog their pores. This has all the humectants, but it also has a water dispersible agent, and it's grapeseed oil. So that is what's unique, because most occlusive agents, they tend to clog pores for some people, and they don't work well with water, obviously, because it's oil. But this has grapeseed oil. So if you've done some study on grapeseed extract, it also has some antioxidant properties. So in addition to the antioxidant properties, it also has another antioxidant ingredient, and that is green tea extract, which is known for powerful antioxidant properties and anti-inflammatory properties. So if you have oily skin, you have oily skin with redness or breakout prone skin, you can actually use this as an oil-free gel moisturizer. And on the flip side to that, if you have dry, inflamed, sensitive skin, or you're post-peel or post-laser and you want something that hydrates your skin without clogging your pores and calms down your skin, you can also use it as an overnight treatment hydration mask. So links to the products and descriptions will be in the description below if you are interested. And if you have tried the Ordinary Hyaluronic Acid 2% B5, you love it, you don't like it, let us know in the comments what you think about it and how you use it. And please remember that we'll be doing more of these videos. Give us a thumbs up if you really want more of these product reviews. That will let us know that this is something that you're looking for, because please remember that makeup is an art and skincare is a science.